Alright. Yep, set up. It's GP here. And I'm going to be reading a few horror stories because I can't sleep. One. And two, I'm going to do this one take J style. I don't have time to keep rehearsing and rehearsing. I do like rehearsing, yes, but like it's like 12:34 over where I'm at. And yeah, I just really want something to take my mind off the thoughts. Anyways, the first story is from r slash short horror stories, obviously, and is by u slash William Trainolds, 27. A straight loop. The farther I look, the more the tunnel shrinks. I've been in here for miles. I don't remember how I got in, and I'm sure I won't know how to get out. Get a grip, I think. It's laughable to think that that's possible. I walked away without my name miles ago. I don't even know who I'm telling to get a grip. So how the fuck do I expect to get it? I wonder what my name is doing now. Does it miss me? Does it care that I've abandoned it? I picture it crouched down, knees tucked up to its chest, cold, alone, and afraid. Well, maybe if you would have kept walking, it wouldn't be alone. It's not my fault that it gave up. I was getting sick of listening to it complain, anyways. It acts like I wanted to be here. If anything, I should be the one that's upset. I'm the one still walking. Coward. Coward! The sound echoes with ferocity. From all around, it shouts back at me. Coward! 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 The vibrations grow louder with each shout, and my bones begin to mimic them. I can feel my ribs insulting me quietly inside my chest. Coward. Coward. They were right. I couldn't stand the stagnation, so I abandoned my name. I am a coward. It didn't want this. I didn't want this just as much as it did. Now it's alone, cold, afraid. No time to sulk. I'll just get a new one. Let's see. How about me? It feels familiar against my tongue. Maybe it was my middle name? Okay, me. You better keep up. Understood? Good. Wait, how far have I gone without a thought? Why isn't me talking? What's the point of bringing a new name if I wasn't going to do anything with it anyways? All it's done is hitch a free ride inside of me. Asshole. The least it could have done was find some food. I can't even begin to comprehend how hungry I am right now. I'll look around for something. Anything? Behind me? No, there's nothing but blood-filled footprints. Maybe I stepped on a bug earlier? I sit down and examine the battered soles of my feet for anything. Nothing. Okay. Don't panic. Please, 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 please don't panic. There has to be something. Does there? Shut up, me! I say, I shout again. The sound reverberates and grows unbelievably loud. My own words become daggers, digging into my head, clogging my throat. Don't panic. I bite my middle finger. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. I keep chewing on the nail until I finally realize it. What is that? Its warmth is a blessing to my mouth. The taste is indescribably fantastic. I can't believe it. You were hiding it from me all along. You selfish, slimy skank. Of course you would keep it from me. You used me. I bite down hard into the flesh. You were hiding it from me. From me. In my own fucking hand. Stop! This isn't right! Of course you would say that. You want it all to yourself. I continue ripping away and chewing the sweet meat. I bet you hid it. all this time, hadn't you? I bite hard into my ring finger. It's there too. I scarf it down faster than the rest. If this is my hand, I can't even begin to imagine what you've hidden throughout the rest. I sharpen the bone on my middle finger with my teeth for hours. Stop! Don't do this! I'm ignoring you, you slut. I finally got it sharp enough to cut my tongue. I take the finger and make a deep incision into my own stomach. I can feel you fighting back, but I am stronger. I use the bone of one of my fingers to help open it deeper. Warmth pours down my crotch and surrounds me. I shove my free hand deep within myself and find what you hid. I yank hard and pull out the cord. Wait, where did you go? Why can't I hear you anymore? What's happening? As I lay here, I think about my name for the last time. What would it think of me now? Yeah, story one is 6 out of 10, I'd say. Wendigo mode. Legit, I mean, self-eating? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, on to story 2. It's called Scratch on r/no sleep and is by Court Creepy 6785. Scratch. I first noticed the scratch on the floor last winter. It was a straight horizontal line gouged deeply into the wood on the corner next to my sofa. When I inspected it, I saw the scratch appear to start at the outside wall, up against the baseboard, then run a few inches into the room. It looked at first like a chair had been dragged across the floor, but it was gouged too deeply to be from an ordinary chair. The scratch also contained traces of a chalky substance with a reddish tint. Very strange indeed. I hadn't moved any furniture recently, yet I could see tiny splinters of wood around its edges. So it was a recent scratch. How exactly did I do this? Sorry, water bottle. Sometime toward the end of spring, I noticed that the scratch seemed longer, at least by several inches. Was I imagining things? Did I absent-mindedly move furniture around when I was cleaning? Has somebody else been in my apartment? I called my landlady and asked if she'd allowed anybody in. Maybe to do repairs? She said no. Over the summer, I forgot about the scratch, but sometime towards the end of August, I noticed it was on the other side of the sofa. I pulled the sofa away from the wall and discovered the scratch that was now about 12 feet long, nearly the length of the entire living room. Had it grown there in the dark all summer long? This is insane. I called the landlady. She came back and took a disapproving look. No, she hadn't let anybody into the apartment. Had I been moving furniture? She told me it must have been left by the previous tenant. She promised to get the building's locks checked. As if that would do anything. She probably thinks I'm making things up, but I'm not a druggie, or a drinker, or a sleepwalker, or crazy. I looked closely at the scratch that night, running my finger down along the side of it. Razor straight, and gouged in by something sharp. I thought of sharp old-fashioned tools, an awl, a sickle, or was it a claw? I drew my finger back, and it stained with an orange-red powder. I've seen that color. It looks like red ochre. It's found in ancient graves, painted on Stone Age bones and strewn on the floor of mortuary caves. Where is that scratch going? And where will it end? I shuddered and pushed the sofa back against the wall. This morning, I woke up to find the scratch had extended into my bedroom during the night. Straight across the living room, through the bedroom doorway, right up along the side of my bed, gouged into the wood just as deeply. But worse than that was the tiny scratch I found on my face. It didn't hurt, so I only noticed it when I was brushing my teeth. Just a tiny little nick right next to my right eye, like from a razor or a claw. Back in the bedroom, I could see how my head on the pillow was aligned with the scratch on the floor, as if the scratch, or whatever was making it, had been going up and over the bed as I slept, over me before I woke up. Did I interrupt it? There were tiny splinters on the sheets, tiny flakes of red ochre on the white pillowcase. And now I sit here wondering what could have happened if I'd slept late, if I hadn't woken up a few seconds earlier. And what if I slept in the same bed, in the exact same spot tonight? And who or what was coming in, scratching in the middle of the night? That was story number 2. All right. And, I'm going to put my own thoughts out here. I literally can't read stories off of fucking script. Whatever. Like, I try to keep it on Google Docs or whatever. Improvise, that type of thingy. Make sure the words are a certain way and try to... But I don't know. I just can't go by the books. It's like I read way better whenever it's like loosely. Anyways, last story. Let me stop talking. Last story is from, or not last story, but this may be the last. Third story from r/no sleep, and it is by Darklink 352. Yeah. 8 years ago, my sister vanished. 8 years ago, my sister vanished. She was part of some team that worked on some kind of experimental medication. She didn't really speak much about what exactly the drug did, only that it would help those who suffered from various sleep disorders. As quickly as her dream job came, it vanished. Less than a year had passed before funding had been cut and the team disbanded. Jennifer never told me what happened, no matter how many times I prodded. I let the question drop, something I would come to regret. With her job gone, along with all the work she'd put forth, Jennifer wanted time away to clear her mind. She asked our parents for the keys to the summer cabin. Despite the fact that the place had gone untouched for many years, she insisted the solitude of the woods would clear her mind. So off she went, alone into the thick woods. 1 month later, she said she was only going to be there for 1 month, and yet she never came back. Police were called, a search was done, and nothing came of it. 1 month later, we were chatting on the phone, and next thing I knew, she was gone. There was no closure or last goodbye for our family. Nothing. I'm not here for pity or condolences, though. I've had years to accept the fact that my sister's gone and isn't coming back. The reason I'm writing this is because of something I found 5 days ago. The thing is, my family hasn't come back to our little cabin. This place was barely used before my sister vanished. With bad memories now attached to the location, it was fully left to wither and rot. It would have remained rotting alone for the rest of eternity if it wasn't for a couple of my pals. No reason to let such a place go to waste, they said. Took some convincing, but I relented. It wasn't hard to get my parents to hand the keys over, as at this point they wanted nothing to do with the place. With a car full of camping supplies, we drove off into the forest. It was weird, stepping back inside that cabin again. Honestly, the place wasn't in that bad of a shape. Just needed a little love here and there, but it was going to be manageable. Obviously, if this was just about a rundown, dank cabin, You wouldn't be reading this right now. As I relived my childhood in the swirling forest, something clicked in my head. Water break. Gotta get that H2O, honey. Jennifer and I had tiny hollow tree stump. Wait, what? Jennifer and I had a tiny hollow tree stump we liked to stash goodies in. It was a secluded hidey hole away from the cabin, away from any potential search attempts. My stomach was doing flips as I searched for the stump. When I found the stump, those flips evolved into full-blown nausea. Inside was an abandoned and rusty lockbox. Jennifer's birthday was the code to open it. She never really was that creative. Inside, I found a small bag with a single pill and a journal. Under usual circumstances, I would never dare to read another person's journal. But I think you understand that these were not usual circumstances. I brought it back to the cabin and read it. We all read it. That's why I'm here writing it. This. Because every single one of us is at a loss right now. I've gone through the journal multiple times now so that I can cut out the useless fluff while maintaining the more important bits. If anybody can figure this out, I would appreciate it because I just don't fucking know anymore. March 15th, 2014. Tomorrow is going to be the biggest day of my life. It will be the official first day that I get to work on this super secret medication. I was only told to help soothe the minds of people. It would help soothe the minds of people, whatever, with sleep disorders, and that was it. Today was mostly just the paperwork, signing and NDA and such. Honestly, not much to write about, but I just know it is going to be a pain falling asleep with all this excitement. March 16th, 2014. I knew it. When I saw there was enough red tape to make even the president blush, I just knew this thing was going to be huge. Subtitles, a work in progress name, but one that could change the world for the better. It produces a chemical in the brain upon consumption that dips the user into a lucid dream state. Subtitles not only helps restless sleepers remain asleep, but it also brings them to their own creative dreamland. I'm getting giddy just thinking about the potential uses on this demand for lucid dreams could provide. Creative playgrounds for artists or therapeutic escapes for the depressed. I can see why Dr. Moore was so creative with his hiring. April 16th, 2014. Testing has begun on the animal subjects. So far, the monkeys that were given the dosage of 500 milligrams or lower have been shown to have no adverse reactions. Those that had dosages of 600 milligrams to 1,000 have increased anxiety and heart rate. Severity of symptoms increase with dosage. Further testing is going to be needed for Somnavale before Somnavale can be given safely to human volunteers. April 20th, 2014. Monkeys that had taken the dosages at about 700 milligrams had died. Strangely enough, they didn't die from any outright symptoms. Instead, they just bashed their heads against the cages until they passed out from brain hemorrhages. Potential cases of psychosis noted if dosage is too large. The monkeys that had taken 600 milligrams appear to suffer from anxiety, but no suicidal tendencies spotted as of yet. Dosages of 500 milligrams have begun showing signs of agitation now. July 8th, 2014. Testing on animal subjects has been concluded. Results have shown stability of the drug when the given dosage is 200 milligrams. Higher concentrations cause anxiety with severe cases involving suicidal urges. Lower concentrations fail to provide proper brainwaves, indicating a proper state of lucidity. With these findings, Dr. Moore will be able to increase funding on the project and begin to search for volunteers. Jesus, okay, yeah, maybe I should just not read this one. Oh god. Anyways. Fuck. Why did I choose this one? I mean, good story. But like, it runs on for fucking ever. Okay, give me a few. I'll get you guys another one. Yeah, boy, yup. I'm tired. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Just wasting time. Yeah, yeah. Gotta fix the bandage on my camera. Anyways, always check your kids' Halloween candy. I'm doing this one. Oh god. Actually, hold on. Aggressive clicking. Anyways, this fucking shit won't load. It won't load. Finally. Anyways, what? I didn't. Okay, guys, give me a moment. It's not functioning. Yeah, please. Okay, now. Always check your kids' Halloween candy. Everyone knows the horror stories. Oh, razor blades, hallucinogens, rat poison, all disguised in candy, just waiting for innocent kids to gobble them up. It's all nonsense, of course. Sure, there are a few isolated incidents where some sickos would do something like that. But the whole tainted candy myth is an enormous exaggeration at best. No. The reason I say you should check your kid's candy is very different. It was the Halloween of '09. I was only 14. I was on the cusp of being ever so slightly too old for it to be socially acceptable to go trick or treating, so I aimed to make that night the biggest haul yet. My costume was elaborate, a zombie with a full face mask, claw gloves, and a chest piece that would drip fake blood at the push of a button. I'd learned from experience that the more detailed the costume, the more candy you get. I was going to hit up every house that I could. I expected to get so much that I even bought one of those big black garbage bags to hold the candy in. I was going to make it a night to remember. It was, but not for the reasons I'd hoped. I couldn't tell you which house I got it from. That's something that always bugged me. My bag was so full, and I'd visited so many houses that it was just all a blur. At the end of the night, I was sorting my candy into piles. A small mound of chocolate bars, some plastic wrapped gummy candies, dozens of lollipops, and more. Just a lot. As I reached into the central pile of unsorted candy, I found something unusual. It looked like a chocolate bar of some sort, but one I'd never seen before. The wrapper was a greenish yellow in coloration, with a two armed cartoon worm giving a thumbs up and winking. The label was in some other language, the symbols not corresponding to any Latin letters that I could recognize. And at first I thought it may be Russian, but the script wasn't quite right. I'd seen what Cyrillic characters looked like from video games and movies, but this looked a bit different. Raising an eyebrow, I opened the wrapper, curious to see what was inside. It looked like my initial guess was right. It did seem to be some kind of chocolate bar of sorts, with little white orbs embedded on the surface. Kind of like how some candies had pieces of nuts. Shut up, don't take that out of context. I gave it a bite, and was pleasantly surprised to find that it was utterly delicious. To this day, I think that was the best chocolate I've ever had in my entire life. Being a 14-year-old, I didn't have the best impulse control. I gobbled the whole thing down in about 30 seconds, tossing the wrapper aside and searching for more in the pile of unsorted candy. I didn't find any more, though, and resigned myself to disappointment. I figured I'd ask around school, bringing the wrapper to see if anyone else got lucky. Maybe I could offer some of my less enticing candy as a trade. After finishing my sorting and eating a few more pieces of candy, I finally headed off to sleep, my stomach full and my heart happy. It had been great. It had been a great day. The next morning, I made sure to pack the empty chocolate wrapper so I could ask around at school and bought some extra candy for trade. During recess and lunch, I asked nearly the whole damn school about the candy, but I only found three other people who got it. And like me, they had immediately eaten the whole thing. I still remember their names. Jeremy, a lanky, bespectacled kid from chemistry class. Ashley, a girl with blue-dyed hair who I'd seen around but never really talked to. And Lee, a track and field athlete who I shared math class with. They all agreed that it was by far the best chocolate they've ever had, and had also been hoping to find some more. However, it seemed like the trail ended there. None of them remembered which house gave them the chocolate bar either. I was a little sad, but ultimately it wasn't the end of the world for me. It was just some candy after all. It took a few weeks for me to notice anything strange. I had long since forgotten about the candy bar, and now that Halloween had come and gone, it was back to the daily routine of school and homework. One morning, I found myself waking up very thirsty. It felt like I'd been walking in the desert for days, so I immediately got up and decided to get something to drink. Normally, with breakfast, I would have milk or orange juice, but that day I decided it was just a big glass of water. And then another, and then another. After 3 glasses, I was finally satisfied. My mom eyed me with confusion. Feeling a bit dehydrated, honey? I nodded, a little embarrassed. I'm not sure why. I just felt really thirsty this morning, I responded. She smiled and said smugly, well, at least it's not soda or energy drinks. Those will rot your teeth, you know. I rolled my eyes and finished my breakfast, getting ready for school, bringing 2 bottles of water with me. That day during chemistry class, Jesus, hearing about him being dehydrated made me dehydrated. What the fuck? Anyways, that day during chemistry class, our teacher announced that Friday there would be a school day long field trip to the local lake, where a fish and wildlife representative would talk about the native ecosystem and the environmental impact of pollution. It wasn't mandatory, but the students who went and wrote a paper about it would get extra credit. The teacher said that anyone who wanted to go should raise their hand, and instantly I found myself lifting mine. Jeremy did too, and I detected the faintest hint of confusion on his face. I also felt a little bewildered. I'd never really been particularly interested in environmentalism or anything like that, and it's not like I needed the extra credit, but something about the field trip seemed to call to me, like I was meant to go there. The rest of the week passed by agonizingly slow. I found myself constantly thinking about the lake, about its cool green waters rippling against the breeze. Every morning I would wake up thirstier than the last, until my mom started to grow more concerned about my water intake. I bought one of those huge water bottles that athletes use, and I noticed that Jeremy and Ashley had as well. Lee already had one, but I noticed him drinking from it more than normal in math class. Finally, Friday came around, and the small number of students going to the lake got on the school bus. I couldn't help but notice Lee and Ashley were coming too, but I was quickly distracted by the thought of the lake. I'd never been one for water. It was fun to go to the pool once in a while, but I've never really been obsessed with it. However, all I could think of during the bus ride was the lake. How good it would feel to dive in its shimmering water, to sink all the way to the bottom and stay there, surrounded by the fish. When we arrived at the Fish and Wildlife Reserve, the guy had us all sit down on the grass. He told us about the pH levels and showed us a preserved frog with too many legs. and passed around photos of some of the garbage he'd found on the water's edge. I wasn't paying attention, though. I was just staring out at the lake, hypnotized by its gentle waves. I thought about how nice it would feel on my skin, in my mouth. Before I knew what I was doing, I was standing up and walking towards the lake. I could faintly hear the chaperone yelling at me to come back, and some of the students murmuring confusion. But I wasn't focused on that. It was just background noise. The sounds of the lake filled my ears. I was vaguely aware that I wasn't alone in my march towards the lake. Jeremy, Ashley, and Lee were all walking with me, similarly fixated. I felt my tennis shoes sink into the cold water as we kept walking onwards. As I kept moving and walking forward until the water completely submerged me up to my chest. And I looked out into the murky gloom, not even trying to hold my breath as I inhaled the lake water. Then came the sudden realization of what was happening, where I was. It was as if I'd been a puppet whose strings were suddenly cut. I was now fully aware of the fact that I was drowning. Then came the pain. I could feel wriggling under my skin, a burning, itching sensation like needles shooting up from within my flesh. I looked down and saw a long, pallid worm erupt out of my skin, like moles digging out of the earth. I tried to scream, but my mouth once again was flooded with water, as one of them squirmed out from underneath my eyelid. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all came writhing up as they burrowed through my flesh. The pain was unbearable. My vision started to fade to black as I passed out from the combination of agony, terror, and lack of oxygen. I woke up in the hospital. My parents were standing over me, their eyes filled with concern. I felt so tired, but thankfully not thirsty at all. When they realized I was awake, my mom smothered me with kisses, hugs and kisses, and my dad just started sobbing with relief. I asked about the others, and the three students who went to the lake, they didn't make it. There was only time to rescue one of us. The doctors were at a loss to explain the puncture wounds all over my body, but said that it wasn't anything too severe, and that I should be able to recover with some pain medicine and antibiotics. I didn't tell them about the worms. I knew they wouldn't have believed me anyways, and I didn't want to end up locked away in some institution. I already had to have therapy sessions and got put on some antidepressants. Apparently, the authorities cooked up some story about a suicide pact between Jeremy, Ashley, Lee, and I. I played along with the story to the therapist, talking about feeling overwhelmed at school and whatnot, but it was all nonsense. I wasn't depressed, at least not before this happened. I did some independent research, trying to figure out what happened to me, when I found out a startling realization. There's a phylum of worm called Nematomorpha, also known as the horsehair worms. Jesus Christ. Excuse me. Anyways, there's a phylum of worm called Nematomorpha, also known as horsehair worms. They typically infect insects, growing inside of them and controlling their central nervous system to make them jump into water and drown. Once the host leaps into water, the worm burrows its way out of the host, continuing its life aquatically to find a mate and lay eggs. There are a few cases of accidental infections in humans, but there is no recorded evidence of them ever manipulating a mammal the same way they control insects. I also found something else out. A few weeks after Halloween, every year, like clockwork, there's a spike in child deaths due to drowning. It's not enough to be noticed by most people, but it is obvious once you're looking for it. So I'll say this to you again. Always check your kids' Halloween candy. If you find a greenish yellow chocolate bar with writing in a language you've never seen before, don't eat it, no matter what. Yeah, now, reading that made me dehydrated. Yes, I do agree. Parasites are actually the real life monsters. The scariest kind, to be honest. Like, could you imagine something leeching off of you, controlling your every movement? Yeah, sorry. Monster can. But, anyways, imagine something like controlling your every move. You can't control what it does. And it doesn't understand your pleas or cries for help because it's a parasite. They're made to literally kill. They eat until there is no more, and they look for more to eat. So, would they technically be carnivorous? I mean, sounds stupid, but reasonable. Anyways, maybe I should finish this up. Anyways. Yes, it is 1:10. My fellow paisanos. Fuck. And, hmm. Why is looking for stories hard? Anyways. Sure, scoot. Duh. Anyways. This seems interesting. Nightmare book bag. Yeet. Anyways. Damn, this story's long. Well, time to get reading. This one's also, again, why do I keep saying it? I don't have to keep saying it. You already know it's r/no sleep. Posted by you slash in Letharn. Letharn. Anyways. I bought a backpack in a thrift store, and it turned my life into a complete nightmare. My old backpack has seen some better days, so I went out to get a new one. Luckily, there's a big thrift shop nearby, so I could buy something decent without spending too much money. Besides, who will pay extra for a bag? Mainly used to carry groceries around, anyways, right? And there it was. Mostly Mickey Mouse themed ones. Lucky me. After checking it all around with no holes or stains being visible, I went straight to the register without hesitations. Paid just $20, so a win-win situation. My day was getting better. But then I stopped to grab a burger on the way home, and while those seemed, one of the inside pockets contained a folded sheet of shabby paper with a hole in it, and a pen, a pebble, and a half-used eraser. I took the paper out to check for clues, like, to develop some non-mutual connection with the previous owner or something. It's just a natural curiosity to find out who may have owned the thing before you did. And I could have bet it belonged to a school kid, or a graduate maybe. Well, I unfolded the paper to read the following. I'm sorry, but this is yours now. Maybe one day you can forgive me. I still don't understand what it is, but I can't let it hurt Danny again. Just follow these simple rules I've discovered and don't let anyone take it from you. It doesn't like apples or mincemeat. Leave at least a small piece by it every day. Don't get it wet. You will regret this. It's fine if somebody touches it while you hold it. Just don't let go. Keep it away from other people and your pets while you're at home. hide it somewhere. This is all the information I could get so far. Please forgive me. Whoa, that kid was probably not really popular in his class, I guess. Who the hell was Danny? Imaginary friend or something? And yeah, that edgy message of, don't touch my backpack or else. That was definitely something. I've looked deeper, and in a moment, the whole collection of forgotten items resided before me on the table. Apart from the stone and used writing stuff, I also got a shoelace, a paperclip, some rubber bands, and a Coke bottle cap. Not much. And frankly speaking, I would prefer that kid had forgot $1 or two, but oh well. So after having a meal, I grabbed all that junk and put it in the trash bin altogether, with the burger wrappings in a cup. It was time to test out my new baby. I bought some milk, eggs, and other edible stuff at my local market and went home. Brilliant thing. Not too tight, holds the weight perfectly, and looks stylish. I was absolutely satisfied with the purchase. By the evening, I've already forgotten about the cryptic teen message, and the story would never land here if it wasn't for what happened next. A couple of days went by, and all I could care about was my job and watching some Netflix after. Yeah, cracking open a cold one or two. I mean, I'm a lonely guy in my primes, so no annoying chores or missions unless I decided so. Yeah, your classic chipmunk wheel of a sleep, work, drink, sleep. You know what I'm saying. And it was completely fine by me. No complaints. But that morning, my descent began. Heat on, skillet on, oil in, eggs cracked. And then I just froze for a second, refusing to believe my eyes. It just couldn't be true. But right in front of me, at the bottom of my frying pan, there was a human thumb. What the hell? I blinked rapidly, trying to make the morbid vision go away, but it was still there. And no, that was not a chicken embryo shaped weirdly. It was a literal fucking human thumb. I could clearly see a nail and the clean cut below the knuckle joint. Holy fucking shit. I think it belonged to rather a man than a woman. Without an extra due, or without extra time to spare, I thought about calling the cops. And should I say that the next few weeks turned into a huge steaming pile of trouble? I've been asked hundreds of questions. They made me take a drug test, which was humiliating, though I had no intention of further suspicion. They checked the store and made some lab tests. As a result, the investigation went sideways to the hen farm, as the test results came back stating that the shell indeed has traces of human tissue. Though nobody had any rational explanation to this, they left me alone for now. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? I've never heard of anything like this before happening. But that was just the beginning. The next evening, I was watching some show and felt the sudden urge to sneeze. And as I did, something went flying over the room, landing on the floor with a rattle. That was strange. So I stood up to go check it out. And imagine my confusion when I saw a human tooth lying on the ground. I grabbed it and went straight to the bathroom to check myself in the mirror. Sweat dripped down my spine as I realized that tooth was not one of my own. No holes, no bleeding patches, nothing. I kept that fact to myself and didn't want to go to the hospital because, the cops were already on edge. And showing up with some other body parts, yeah, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. What was happening? I had no clue. But something definitely wasn't right. I'll skip straight to the part where I posed myself like a complete idiot, contacting the so-called paranormal experts and parapsychology professors of all sorts, and cut down to the point of what one of them said. Try to remember. Maybe you got some new things recently? Things that didn't actually belong to you? That shouldn't have been stolen or anything? Maybe you found something on the street that something was empowered with dark energy. Of course, the backpack. That was not mine, even though I paid for it, and I suddenly recalled the written message included. Is the thing cursed? Should I burn it? But what if that makes things even worse? So I've decided to stick with what was written on the note first. What was it? Some apples and meat must be left by every day? Okay, got it. There was something about not letting anyone touch it, too. But I live alone, so we're safe here. And something, think. Gremlin. Ah, yes, don't let it get wet. So, I did what I could. I put a small plate of apple pieces and beef mince next to it, hoping to see any reaction by the morning. But there was none. Just a couple of fruit flies found their way on the treat, and the plate was untouched. Well, maybe it doesn't consume it. Maybe the smell is enough, I thought to myself. It was all pins and needles throughout the whole day without proper conclusion if that worked or not. It did not. In the evening, I felt my throat go sore, and just moments later, I coughed up a wet lock of hair, bending in half on my carpet. It hurt like hell. Spitting up the hairs, I went to the fridge to grab some orange juice to clear my throat, though something atrocious awaited there. As the door opened, I've witnessed a swarm of tadpoles sitting in the bottle, packed so tightly they could barely move. I think all the heavenly forces and the Lord himself helped me to keep myself sane. I took the backpack, a lighter, and went to the yard with firm intention to burn the fucker down. As I watched the flames licking the fabric and the cracking leather indents, the whisper of doubt somewhere deep inside repeated, "What if this is not enough?" Apparently, it was not. After discovering an extra pair of ears on my pillow in the morning, clean cut and no blood, I suddenly realized the most horrible outcome of this whole situation. I remembered the paper, how shabby it was, and how I didn't pay much attention to the other stuff when taking it out. What if that warning message, the sheet itself enfolded, the subject, and after tossing the bag around, it just fell out from the fold? What if it's not the backpack, but something that was within it? What could be? The pebble that looks like any other pebble you'd find on the ground, the eraser maybe? And then it hit me hard. So hard that my heart just stopped beating for a single moment. As a cruel realization, I threw it out in the trash bin in that burger place a couple buried under tons of trash in a dumpster somewhere outside the city. I've never expected to hear about something like this. Not even something about being a part of a cruel scenario. I have no other choice but to pin down where the garbage trucks went and put my life to finding that exact trash sack from the burger place before it's too late. Consider this a goodbye letter. I know my odds. Besides, my stomach is kind of painfully irritated for a couple of hours already. I really don't like this feeling. Wish me the best of luck. Killer book bag. Maybe I'll read one more. Yep, I'll read one more. Ah, yes, final one. Shit. Water bottle. Ah. All right, last one. 3, 2, 1, let's go. My mirror is watching me. I just recently went on a home decor shopping spree. I wanted to replace my old furniture that I had for years and started just blending in. I wanted something new so I could put my keys in my car and go out to basic places where you would find such things. Home Depot, etc., etc. I spent hours just finding out what to buy from my savings, and before I knew it, closing time was approaching. I went to the stand to make my orders, and with a large smile, I was headed back home to my two dogs, cat, and my girlfriend. A lot of animals. It was already pretty late, and unusually in this area, there was a huge traffic jam. I spotted this off road alley, big enough for a cat to fit, and the GPS told me that the road could be a shortcut to my home. As I drove by the little village, I stopped because I saw an old lady at a garage sale selling some house items. Once again, it was pretty late, anyways, and I took my chances on getting something unique for my house that wouldn't cost a fortune. This is how it always starts. Garage sale. I greeted the old lady and looked around the old items. I pretty much looked over the whole time, like I was at a museum observing things. The old lady kept to herself, and once in a while she murmured something loud enough for me to hear, but quiet enough for me to not understand. In the end, I observed a mirror from the Victorian era with beautiful wooden engravings, and as I set my eyes on it, I asked for the price and left. As I expected, it was only $100, and that's abnormal for a historic item that would usually cost a fortune in an antique shop. Okay, pause that. Uh, Whenever an item that's too good to be true sells for way less, like $25 or $100, it's cursed. I don't know if you know this, but spoiler alert, it's cursed. Or, I mean, it has, bad quality or something. Or, fake. But, like, point being, don't get it. All right, back to it. I arrived home and placed the mirror on the wall. As I got a kiss on my cheek from my girlfriend, the night ended like any other night. Or so I thought. I woke up to the sound of breaking. Angry, I stormed down to the kitchen, thinking it was my cat, cat culprit, since he loves knocking down plates and bowls when me and my girlfriend weren't looking. I went downstairs and there was nothing to be found, except my cat sleeping soundly on the couch and a random plate on the floor. When I just wake up, I'm just one of those, droosy, wobbly things that can't even do a simple task in a decently short amount of time, but I swear in the corner of my eye for a split second, I saw a shadow or something. And for that whole night, I couldn't brush off the feeling that something was very wrong. Lucky for me, it was Saturday. When I woke up, I took a broom to clean up the mess from yesterday. But to my shock, there was nothing there. I just had to stand there like an idiot with a broom in my hand, staring down at the spot that I could have sworn there was a broken plate the night before. My girlfriend kept poking fun at me, with remarks like, "Glad you decided to do your chores so early." And just statements like that. But I could have sworn on my life it was all real. As freaked out as I was, I went to my office and started on the project I had due in a month, just to get my mind off of it. I took a nap, as I couldn't get 1 minute of sleep. Last night, but something was drawing me towards that mirror, and I couldn't explain it in words. But I just dreamt the mirror was everywhere I went. I knew very well that my girlfriend wouldn't accept my bullshit excuse of, "I'm scared of the mirror because I saw it in my dream." I just went downstairs and did it the old way, by covering up the mirror with a black cloth past 6 p.m. My girlfriend thought I was over-exaggerating, but I didn't put up a fight because she was always spooked by my old traditions. And I still follow as well with all the other things around my house. I have a very strong belief that old things were created to last, and new items just break more to make you consume more. Well, I took it upon myself to cover the mirror every day from then onwards. Things went back to normal shortly after, but one day I had to leave because of my business trip, or follow my ritual of putting the cover on during the time intervals of 6 p.m. sunrise. I could see her internally rolling her eyes while saying a sarcastic, "Understood," but I was dead serious and assured her of it. I was gone for only a week, but when I came back, everything seemed too normal. She was almost copying her own behavior, and it creeped me out even more that she didn't cover the mirror, and it was already midnight. While coming closer to it, cover it, I saw a faint shadow, just like the one from the night before that broke the plate. I tried to spit on my finger and just wipe it off as it was all my imagination. But just like that, it was gone. I must have been so tired. I fell asleep because I woke up in my work clothes. I felt like I was always watched throughout the day by something. My girlfriend locked herself up in her room, whispering something similar to the old woman. This time, when I looked in the mirror in the morning, the shadow was right behind me, watching. I know that whatever I do, I won't be able to get rid of it. I cracked the mirror. Now I hear voices. I threw holy water, and my girlfriend won't stop screaming. I burnt it. The crying stopped. The voices stopped. They're after me, and I don't know how much time I have left. I already hear my girlfriend calling me from downstairs. I know it isn't her, because she never talks this deeply. Alright, that's enough for this spooky session. I am going to be ending this stream now. I am tuckered out. This is the first time I'm tuckered out, actually. Normally I'm not sleepy around 1, but it's 1:32. Anyways, this is GP Whitlock. Whitlock, not Whip. And I will see you creeps later. Bye now.